this meeting. And I can start. I feel I feel great, energized, but also a little bit anxious with the connection. And there is a show I'm going with friends in the top of the hour, so I'm looking forward to that. So there's a little bit of a tiny anxiety in the back of my mind, but nothing that prevents me from being present. And also excited to jump into the topics that are opening, and grateful that you are all here. And now pass to Gideon.
Thanks, Louie. I honestly, if I really tune into my body, it's all revved up because we just came out of a session talking about treasury management. Yeah, I don't know why, but I'm nervous about that whole topic. It fills me with a little bit of anxiety just because of the risks involved with it. So I'm trying to like ground myself and center myself on that. And also, I'm very excited about the topics too, like this whole question of membership. I'm super interested in that. I will pass it to Bear.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think I share the same feelings as Gideon. I'm also coming from the treasury management call, and I've been having like this is the third call in a row. So some of the distraction is that I'm trying to eat breakfast while I'm in the call, so it's messy. But yeah, I'm also excited to be here. I heard the topics that were gonna be discussed in this call, so I think they are important, and I think they all relate with each other. It's really interesting for me because like the different conversations going on in the different working groups, somehow sometimes it doesn't seem like it, but they relate to each other a lot. So if something changes in one, it will affect the other one. So I'm really interested in that. And yeah, that would be it for me. I'll pass it to Empty.
Thanks. Well, I'm so. My body's feeling great. Some things I've been looking up to are coming up together. Some aren't. So I guess that's life. But I'm quite positive this week. I'm feeling grateful and great, and quite interested in the topics we are going to discuss today, and also glad to be back on a Softgov call because I haven't been in one for a couple of weeks. I'll pass it over to you, Septi.
Thanks. I didn't figure out what's the question. I think it's something related with the heat check. So yeah, I'm feeling great. Overall, excited about this, all the things that are happening in sample and specifically. But yeah, like also the transparency work is going smoothly. So yeah, I feel good. I'll pass it to Chuy.
Thank you, Septi. Is this just like a general temperature check? Sorry, I came in a little bit late.
Yeah. Hi, Tui.
Oh, hi, Livy. Thank you.
How are you arriving to this meeting
Yeah,
today?
I think oh, sorry.
How's your body feeling?
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry that
I think I'm
I'm
getting
not.
a delay in your voice, Livy.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Livy.
but
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not sharing
okay.
screen
I'll wait
because
until.
my internet is quite.
I think I feel pretty good overall.
Please go.
I've been having a lot of opportunities to pick up on just like some old stuff that I've been wanting to do in general in like my personal life and also my like the proposal inverter, like I feel very motivated that I could finally like have a chance to pick up on that and get a little bit more involved. So yeah, I think it's a great moment. I think it's a great moment, just like for the community, and yeah, I feel that also maybe we are just like maybe like restoring ourselves after like some difficult times, and also being around communities that were like very vulnerable to recent changes just in general in the market. So yeah, as Enti said, like trying to be just like very like thankful, and yeah, I think motivated in general. And I'll pass it to, I don't know if you went, Gideon.
I did, Chewy. Thanks. I think that's it, right?
Yep.
Am I sounding a little bit better now?
Oh, way better.
Okay, cool. Cool. So let's jump into the first topic, that is just the governance feedback. Yesterday in the Stewards Council, or in the Stewards call, Chewy was mentioning how the One Hive team has been looking forward to hear feedback for the gardens because they're looking into a V2. And Tam was sharing some thoughts about like, oh, maybe we should have a time limit for how long proposals stay in the gardens. And that was just one feedback. So I was just willing to do a round of feedback here. One, and two, understand what is the best way for us to capture that feedback. Would that be through a forum, or or opening a forum post, and then people can put things there and we can share that with One Hive. So I'll pass to Tui if you want to add something and just share your thoughts.
Yeah, so just and in general, I feel that maybe sometimes we've had like a very just like a one-way approach to things. Whenever we want to like solve just like decision voting, especially like oh, should we change like these parameters or that, and I feel that maybe a lot of these issues could be addressed in just like different approaches, because we don't necessarily have to be like changing parameters every time that we need to like we need to, let's say, inspire some kind of like behavioral change in our token holders. I think that it could, I don't know, maybe be solved. I don't know, like as a UI issue, like who knows? Maybe like a lot of people still are not as aware of Celeste as the community is. So I don't know, maybe that could be a UI change, or yeah, just like different ways in which we can approach how to solve different issues around the decision making process. So yeah, maybe kicking it off with that thought. I don't know if someone else wants to take it.
I'll go, only because I have one specific suggestion, but also I find like things like this are usually better if I can do it async. You know, like on the spot, I'm not super great at just like coming up with ideas of like the very best thing to add to gardens. So like it feels like if we had like some type of document or someplace where we could like collaborate on it and add things over time, I think that would be helpful. As far as like the one specific thing that I did have for gardens, I think that there's this thing called ERC 1155, which basically allows you to do kind of like logical combinations of tokens. So you could say must have, TEC and an NFT, or must have, TEC, must have either this or that. And that kind of support, I think, would allow us flexibility in the future that we don't have right now. And I think it would be really good for gardens because it will allow all kinds of different combinations and greater flexibility for governance. Aside. And then I'll pass to Zeptimus.
Yeah. The question is like governance fit. Like, I feel like the most efficient way would be like someone like carrying the flag, like because so many, like for example yesterday in the Steward call we shared like so much feedback, but then I feel like I really like the forums, but it feels like people is not getting to those, like when you ask for feedback into, like I especially like was talking to get feedback on the reward system, but people is not engaging a lot. But if you ask them like in a call, they just give their opinion, which is great. So I feel like if someone champion it, then hand it over to one hive. I think that's the best way. Pass it to NT.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, I have to agree a bit on that. The forum would be the ideal place. I'm just not sure it's going to get the proper attention. But I wonder if the like one possible way would be to first of all have the stewards talk about it, because all the stewards are like pretty much the people that put like pretty much all the proposals up there, and they probably have like better experience on the process and may have some suggestions, and then just figuring out a way to get a pool like um, uh, a few people from the rotor community to just expand on their feedback for the product. I think that that'd be great as well. And also, really, anyone with strong opinions, like for example Gideon, there's an open channel where they're discussing the B2. So if like if anyone wants to be like really involved, they can just jump in and provide direct feedback. And I'll pass it over to Bear. You haven't gone yet, I think.
Yeah, thank you, NT. Yeah, I don't really have much to say. I'm a really new user of the gardens. So yeah, probably maybe it already exists. I don't really know, but maybe like some FAQ, like to understand how the gardens work and the different definitions of the terminology over there. That's something that took me a while to get. So maybe that could be some feedback, but yeah, I don't have much to say. I think we're all good, so I pass it back to you, Livy.
Nice. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I think probably a mix of what Zaptimus and Gideon said, of having like we could have a thread in the forum, but then also add some cat herding to it and send to the people that have something to say already that we know, and then try to keep that thread active. And if you could post that, NT, that link you mentioned, that would be cool, to where they're having that discussion. We could add all that to the forum.
Sure, great. Yeah.
Can you add here to the agenda, and then I can post there?
Yep. 1 second.
Thank you. So we can jump to the next topic. Gated channels, how do we feel about them? Gideon, do you want to introduce a little bit? Well, maybe everyone here is already well introduced to the idea of having gated channels and just some of the ideas of why having them, what could be the utility. I mean, it is based on a utility of the TEC token. So incentivizing people to have the token based on channels they can join. There's an explanation you want to add, an introduction, or how we can start the discussion.
Sure. Thanks, Libby. Yeah, I mean, I think that this all does come down to raising the utility of the TEC token, like it increasing demand for that token and actually building our economic layer. And so that's I would say my driving interest in this is helping to develop the economic layer of the TEC. But I think that it also expanding ownership of the token has really important implications for governance too. Right now, and this is just my personal opinion, like I'm taking off the Sampo hat. This is just Gideon just speaking. I feel like there is a division in this community between the people who can vote and the people who can't vote. And that's going to change, I think, over time as praise, like praise is changing that. It's getting TEC tokens into more people's hands, so that's good. But I also just feel like it's good if we can get the token into more people's hands and then enable them to participate in governance. That's going to improve the wisdom of the crowd, improve our collective decision making, and make us stronger as a community. So I think that's kind of like if I were to step back and think about this from like why do I care about that? I think those are kind of the big picture pieces. And token gating some channels on Discord is just one way that we can increase the utility of the token. And it's not the only way. And I think that we've already seen some concerns about doing that. And I personally have some of these concerns too. I was sharing this just a moment ago on the Sampo channel. I won't mention what the DAO was, but there was actually a pretty cool social DAO that I joined, and I really liked the people. But I have to say that when I joined, it was token gated, and there was a little part of me that felt like, oh, am I like one of the cool kids now? Like what is this? It didn't feel right. And so I think that if we were to do token gating of Discord, we don't have to. There are other ways of increasing the utility of the token, but I think it is, if we did it the right way, it could actually really boost a sense of inclusiveness. Ironically, it could actually help us to create a sense of like shared ownership over this community. And the last thing I'll add is that I don't think this is just about the TEC token. I think there's this question about like a membership, TEC membership NFT that we've been kicking around that is also related to this. But I'll just stop because I've been talking too long.
Yeah, thank you. What I wanted us to focus on this call, it's more on like what could be the social implications of having something like this, and how can we do it in a way that is aligned with our culture and that would make people feel good and have all the objectives that we're thinking, and not do the opposite effect that it could like harm the culture to a point that token holders might leave or other undesired effects. So one thing I've been thinking is how using it for education sounds like it could be something interesting. Both education and perhaps um, some type of project that could be held. You know how the TE Academy is creating this, how is it called? It's kind of like an internship with block science and other token engineering projects. So folks that were brilliant in some of the courses, like alumni of the TE Academy that would like to continue engaging in a certain project, then could be a part of this community. I'm not saying that this is what we would do, but something in that direction, that makes knowledge sharing be held in a space that is somehow contained. And then that contention could be done via TEC tokens. I guess we could brainstorm on ideas that I haven't heard what everyone is thinking of what could be possible use cases of this.
I would I would focus a lot on one of the points that Gideon mentioned, which is like this aspect of a social token, like some kind of like sense of belonging. Uh, I feel that if we focus on that, what people outside the community have a very, very clear demand for is just tokenomics. So I feel that we could explore like some kind of like revenue or token gating um, experiment, but I feel that at least until we have like the first generation of the T fundamental scores, uh, we won't really be in like there in the possibility of expanding the community with more token engineers, just like members. I feel like in the near horizon, that's like I feel like the next evolution phase for TEC. So then, like when we have like some token engineers, I don't know, like there are gonna be people that focus on different things, and maybe we could try to see and explore the possibility of having like these kinds of like workshops and stuff like that, and those can be token gated. And I do feel that that's something that has a lot of opportunity because it's clear like people have been asking for it for months, and we really haven't been able to provide that because we're not like really a service now, we are a commons. So the idea is to eventually be like a very strong spine for this idea of a service DAO. Uh, but yeah, like until then, I definitely agree on doing like some experiments, but uh, maybe I would say when it comes to token gating, as much as we explore, there is a very clear need that we are not able to provide yet. So until then, I would maybe focus on like kind of like social experiments or something like this, but not expect to find a solution if we don't like if we don't listen to a clear need. Yeah, these are some of my thoughts, and I think everybody went, or I don't know if Enti or Bear want to take it.
Yeah, I would like to add on to what you're saying, Chewy. This part of needs. I think it would be important to like kind of ask ourselves what problem are we trying to solve with token gating channels? Like, do we really see there's a need for doing that right now? Do we see that people is actually asking for that maybe in a way? Or is this more like a response to another problem that we have that in this case is like tech utility, right? Because if that's the reason why we are doing it, then maybe there are different alternatives in which we could generate that utility and not just do this because and just don't have like any really solid reason to do so. maybe is the education part. I think that's a good point. But like Chu is saying, maybe it's gonna take some time to do. Like in that aspect, I could also suggest. I think someone said yesterday having like events, token gated events. I think that's also like an interesting idea, like Griff inviting someone to have like a conversation, something like that. I think it was mentioned. But again, I would go back like for what problem are we solving with token gating, and if it's really worth putting effort into doing this right now. I don't know if NT, you want to say something?
Yeah. Okay. So here's my thinking. The first time I heard about the NFT thing, I thought of it as something you earn in exchange for, say, onboarding to the TC, which is signing the covenant, joining the community call, setting up praise, etc., etc. And now it feels like the like we we are trying to take it not as a reward, but more as a requirement. And I think Bear has a solid argument there. In and it's actually making me think that the TC is working properly because we are working to solve others' problems, and so right now I haven't heard like a solid plan for the token gating that solves a problem for others. Um, it's just we are just looking for to solve a problem we have. Um, seems like everyone is pretty say sold on the idea of education, which seems like a reasonable way to implement token gating. But then the T Academy has been putting a lot of effort into making this education open and free. Um, and so really I'm just having a hard time thinking about what is it that we could realistically open gate and drive demand, because I think Chui also said services, but at least in my opinion services would be better off if it's like with payments instead of you buy TC once and you get access to the payment like forever or something like that. I don't know how would that work out, but yeah, I think token gating would probably make sense, say for a token holder channel where there's some more direct information and stuff like that. But like token gating to provide a service, unless someone has like a really great idea, I'm just not seeing it. And I'll pass it over to you, Septi. I think you're left.
Yeah, I also pretty much agree with what NT was saying. Like, I really think if we have a token gated, uh, we really need to have like, and I also agree with what Gideon was saying before about like having the execution matters and how we do that. So basically, I'm very skeptical to that at the beginning, unless there is like a proof of something like what's the benefit. I really don't have much to share in that topic. Back to Libby.
So the feeling I had is that there is a negative support to it, or in general, a feeling that the reason is not clear yet, or that the ways we could do that don't feel so aligned, or that it seems like there's a lot of concern about working with this. Just something that came to mind is that events could actually be like a really great use of it, that it wouldn't feel so exclusive. I mean, the way events happen in conferences now feels very exclusive, but if it was just a token gated passport in, that feels like it would be aligned with everything, but then it wouldn't happen as often as we might need for increasing the utility. Hi, Mitch. I'll pass it to you and then back to Gideon if you want to contribute to the quest of how do you feel about token gated channels, and if you have ideas for the possible utility of it.
Yeah, I love it. There's lots of great apps like collab.land that are using token gated communities. Social tokens, I'm sure Chewy's no stranger to this one, but I mean, using these token gated things to increase token utility is a really easy way to make utility. And I think that making a separate NFT, so a separate token that gets you access, is not really helping I think the overall goal, which was to increase token utility. You're kind of diluting it into other places and making the system more complicated.
What isn't a good way?
Making an NFT that's that you've done X amount of things, and then that gives you access, where it's just straight up holding TEC tokens, or a threshold of TEC tokens would get you in a sense. I think that's a great way to increase token utility. And maybe it costs a little bit of money, but at some point we're going to want people to buy TEC tokens for some purpose. So if we don't address that now and we kind of go on oh, it should be free and everything, then I think we're gonna have a tough time thinking of utility or buying incentives, I guess.
And do you think from a social perspective, what would be the best use cases to add that gate to?
To what to gate exactly?
Yeah, what to gate?
I mean, I would go it's tough to say, but what do we have resources that people want? What do people come to the TEC and they want to get? They should be able to join the server, but where is the information kept that it would be useful for them to have TEC to get access to see?
Okay, so maybe just a good recap of what we've been chatting, and just to organize my mind too, is it feels like some of the resources that we do have that are some level of education, some level of social engagement with people that might be interesting in the space. Those would be immediate resources, so social resources and educative resources. And then NT brought a good point that the TE Academy has been doing an enormous work to provide an open and free education, and then us gating some type of educative strategies could be conflicting with them. I think there are ways to do that without being conflicting, and more in a partnership kind of thing. So what we've been doing with the TE Governance Guild, for example, it is a somehow gated working group without needing a token. We could add the token for that, and together with the other acceptance criterias that are happening. But I think we could open spaces that are supposed to be focused, or that we need an intimate group. But then I wonder if just having TC token is not it wouldn't serve that purpose, because so many people have TC token. So I don't know. So far, I think events are the best idea, but I also want to hear from everyone if there are other thoughts that have popped up.
One thing that I've been thinking a lot about lately is, it feels like the academy is. I mean, this is just my vibe. Just looking at their server, it's growing really fast, actually. I think that the fundamentals course is boosting. It's people are excited about this, right? And if you look at the people who are joining over there, they're pretty technical. Like these are the token engineers or like token engineer wannabes, right? Like, and then if you compare that to the TEC, we're not growing. It doesn't seem like we're growing as fast. It seems like the Token Engineering Academy is growing faster, and so that's actually, I think, a good thing in the sense of they're doing a good job of attracting the people who should be the future of this commons. And so I guess where I'm going with that is I think we need some ways of getting those people really excited about the TEC. Because right now, if you look at who's here, the vibe is not that, right? It's something else. And we've got a great vibe. We've got the governance vibe, and, we've got all these other things, the kind of the more the cultural aspect of it, but less the technical aspect. So I think one thing that if we could think about ways of inviting these 1,600 new people who are going through the fundamentals course, enticing them over and helping them to feel like this is their commons would be super cool. So what would be examples of that? Well, like, if there were ways that you could you're taking the fundamentals course, and then along the way, there are things that we're doing in the TEC that do require that you take a stake in this community, and we do it in a good way that doesn't feel like this exclusive thing. It's open to anybody, right? Anybody can do it. And you're doing it by taking a stake in the future of this commons, which you're already, like, you're investing in the future of this commons yourself by just even studying token engineering. So what would that look like? Well, I think, building on these ideas of events and education, maybe we piggyback on some of the courses that are happening in the fundamentals course, and we invite some of the luminaries, some of the people who are have been doing this, for years and are friends of ours, to kind of have smaller, more intimate conversations, where they really share their experience, and you get to kind of see the inside look at how these things happen. I'm not sure exactly what it would be, but those kinds of things I think would be really cool, and would provide a sense of meaning and community. And I think that they would be valuable enough that we could token gate them.
Yeah, Angela actually had, she mentioned something like that she wanted to propose some quests to the people who are doing the course. And then if they do that, and one of them would be joining the TEC server or engaging with something in the TEC, that would count on their badge or something like that. We should talk to her because I remember she mentioned something about it. And this sounds cool. This could be part of the education we were talking about in a way that is integrative, to maybe even grab the folks that are learning things and have them share with the TC community, with the TC token holders. So it's a way for them to train their knowledge and also for people to learn somehow. Any more thoughts? Anyone?
I just want to add one other thing, which is that we're working on other token utility pathways, right? So we don't have to do this. We really don't have to. I personally believe that there's, if we start doing some experiments in this area, and I think that the academy is probably the best way of doing that. It's the most logical way of bringing new people in. But we really we don't have to do this. I think we should do this if we think that this is going to be good for the culture. There are other things we're working on. Like I'll just mention these briefly, but like we've got some ideas right now that we're moving forward on around consulting intake, like token engineering consulting intake, and requiring token holding in order to participate in that. So that's going to drive utility up. There are other ways that we can do it. So yeah, but yeah, I guess I am really tuned into what Bear was saying, which is like, let's not do this just to solve our problems of token utility. Let's do this if it solves the users of this commons, if it solves their needs. I think that's a really useful way of thinking about it.
I wanted to add that besides that, I think anyways, having probably just one channel to have a more highway communication with token holders may be a great way. I have already tested a few token getting tools, and so that would be pretty straightforward if that's something like we consider could um, make better our communication with whoever holds TC.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, because we would actually be solving one of the problems that has been coming up with this, like the token holder message. So maybe that could be a great way to communicate with them.
Yeah, that would be a very innocent way to start. Not like excluding anybody, it's just to give important messages, and maybe we could start creating a culture that people actually chat the chat and just that one chat and that becomes like the place for important messages, and we make sure to not spam it.
Yeah, also one other thing just to think about is having a good communications channel for votes, for like the common pool spending votes, like that's actually super useful. Like having one place where a token holder can go and say like, okay, what's really going on? Like kind of like we do what Griff does in our community calls, which is like he does an update on like what's in conviction voting right now, and we do in the stewards calls, like doing that for token holders, like and maybe there are ways of this. Now I'm just riffing here, but like maybe there are ways to for token holders to actually have conversations in a token holder Discord channel about their views on these votes.
I think that's a great idea. I just remembered that OneHive has this bot that whenever a proposal gets posted or executed or whatever, it posts an update on a Discord channel, and we could take that bot, put it in here, and every time there's a proposal up, the bot posts the announcement, and people can just chat around it.
Cool. That sounds like a call to action. There's somebody that wants to own that, to create this channel and just start this way, and then we can track what is the engagement if people are feeling comfortable with that, and that could be the first experiment of the token gate.
So Liviade, this is one of the things that we signed up for in sample in the proposal is like pioneering some type of token gating thing. But I see us as more just like implementers, and to be honest, like I think this is like a cultural issue. So I love the fact that you're driving the cultural aspect of this, and like NT's been well, I don't want to speak for you, Enti, but he has been kind of exploring this and kind of leading this effort in the sample world of like how would we implement something.
You mean you think this should be a proposal, like a snapshot proposal?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's implementation questions, and Enti's digging. We're kind of digging into this in the sample world, but there are a bunch of cultural implications. Like we could mess things up. Let me put it this way: we want to make sure that if we do something like this, we don't want to mess it up. We don't want to mess up the culture. So, like, yeah, I feel like this needs to go to the community, and to me, that feels like that's a Softgov thing. Like a partnership.
Yeah, for sure. I think the other points, like if we were thinking of making social gated channels, or if that had a very clear utility, like, oh, you come to this channel because of a reason and this is gated, I think that would be more delicate than what came up now, that is like a communication channel to all token holders to talk about vote and things that are dedicated to token holders. So for example, now a person who doesn't have a token cannot vote, so it doesn't feel exclusive to have them out of the conversation anyways, you know? But because this is already our design in a sense. So I think it would be great anyways to open that for a community discussion, and maybe just having this as a first step will will make people more comfortable to talk about other implications if we had other uses for it.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. That's like, so basically do a pilot with the token holder communications, and like we can build on that idea and really focus on that first, and then be thinking about this broader goal of maybe some education things with Token Engineering Academy as something that we might roll out, that we would test with the community and see if there's like some interest and willingness on that, and that wouldn't be until like the fall timed with the token engineering fundamentals.
Yeah, exactly. And to your point too, that some people are locked out of governance, I think now with the reward system, that's not really happening anymore, because everyone who had their who were waiting to receive their tokens from that hatch period have already received it, and the people who are engaging are just like on a 2-week drawback because we are distributing frequently.
They will be in a couple weeks. We only distributed up to December, but they'll be there in like a month.
Okay, right. Okay, so it seems like that was it. If no one has other questions, comments, we can wrap it up.
Hey, Livia, just one last thing is so we can move forward in Sampo with this token holder channel idea as like what we just talked about. Do you want to maybe brainstorm about like talking with Angela about this longer term thing, just so that it's on her radar as a possibility?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. And maybe, yeah, I'll follow up with you separately to just kind of because that also syncs with some of the stuff that we're talking about with Sampo too. So I can follow up with you separately, and then maybe we just like talk about like timing and stuff like that would be helpful for us.
So there is a technical blocker now? Like we're not able to actually do it right now?
There are solutions. NT's looking at different solutions right now. I don't think that the technical hurdle is going to be the big thing. I mean, it's more about how we do it. And the thing that Mitch mentioned too, like there's this question of like, is it just token? Is it just a TEC token? Is it TEC token plus like some type of membership NFT? Like there, you know, the TEC token thing is obviously like, we don't have to solve the NFT thing to do the token holder channel. Like that's super clear, right? But if we wanted to do any kind of like NFT membership NFT thing, like there are all these complexities with that, right? So, but to answer your question, just doing token gating, I don't, you know, I think like Collab Land and there are other ones too. That's not going to be the hurdle.
Okay, so as soon as we have that a little more fleshed out, I can make a post in the forum and then we can kick it off. Thank you everybody for joining and sharing your thoughts.
Thanks, Livy.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Livy.
everyone. Thank you, Livy.
Thanks.
Let me.
Bye. Take care.
Bye bye.